Goodness gracious. Welcome to another stream. And you know what happened? Lucy's abandoned us again. I know. After such a wonderful time last week, we've been abandoned and I'm running everything myself. So things may be a little bit excellent. No, we will see how we can do. I'm managing. I'm looking at different screens, so we'll get through it. I think it went well last time I was flying solo, so should be great. Today we are going to be doing. We're going to be rolling up our not rolling up our sleeves because it's actually pretty hot, and I don't know about you. I'm already wearing short sleeves, but we are going to be working on Lenethailef a bit. Specifically, we are going to be working on the lexicon, because we've been working on the grammar. We've been doing all sorts of fun stuff. Hello, everyone. I just saw some stuff from the chat come in. Welcome. We've been doing all sorts of grammar. We've been doing some phonology stuff. We've been working on the evolution of the sound system. But we haven't really spent a good amount of time making sure the lexicon is sort of documented and centralized. And so that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be some dictionary fun. So welcome, everyone, from all over the world, wherever you are, whatever time of day it happens to be, whatever weather it's like where you are. I wish you an excellent Tuesday. And potentially Wednesday, I guess, in some places. Okay, so I think we don't even need too much further ado. Let's go over and look at the... Oh, no, wait, I can't go over yet. I have to say hi to YouTube. YouTube, welcome. We are about to work on some fun in the dictionary. We are going to take all the words that we've been haphazardly making and then throwing to the side like they're nothing. We're going to put them all into a nice organized lexicon with their etymological information and everything that needs to be known about them. So that's the plan. Let's go. Bam, over to the side. Right, so where were we? Lenethailef. We had been looking at the morphology of Lenethailef last time, and we'd come up with a regular class of nouns and verbs. So, for those who are not aware, Old Lenethailef is extremely complicated and has this crazy ablaut system where you have, say, a word like huask, meaning crow. In the nominative / genitive case, it's huask, but in the accusative case, it's huaskuich. And in the locative and instrumental case, it's huaserum. So you have these three sort of stem forms that show up depending on what case we're talking about. And similarly, we have the same thing going on really with verbs. So we have, let's see if I can find an example. Mazlach, which means to shine. In the simple predicative form, it's mazlach. In the past, it's mazlaret. And in the substantive form, it's mazlarok. So we have three forms again as well for the verbs. By the time we get over to middle Lenethailef, these kind of ablaut classes start to apply to fewer and fewer stems, and so more and more things get put into this regular stem, this regular class. So an example would be the loan word mi, which is the goddess Mi, it's a loan word, so we don't expect it to necessarily participate in all of the morphological fun of the inherited lexicon. So we get instead of an ablaut system, we just have suffixation. So mi, mi, minum, mif, miven, mif, mim. And similarly, we may have some inherited vocabulary go over to this regularized class. So month, meaning love, month, manthi, mandhanam, manthaf, mandhaf, mandhavan, manthaf, mandham. So this is the sort of diachronic story that we're telling with Lenethailef. And we now have to take all of this information that we've made it in this spreadsheet. We've got it over in this spreadsheet with all the different sentences. We've got poems. Oops, I'll show you that later. That's going to be fun. I have some new texts for us to translate. And we have also some information about Lenethailef in this proto-lexicon in a different spreadsheet. So it's just a mess. We need to organize it, and so that's our task right now. So the format, Echo Words asks, is it going to be like a spreadsheet format for now, at least, to keep us organized? We have here the start of it. So we have the following columns. We have the actual form of the word, the part of speech, the stem class, which is important in Old Lenethailef, especially for most stems. The gloss, so this is our translation roughly into English, and then the etymology from Proto-Cal, or from wherever the form is from. So this is going to be kind of like a historically aware dictionary that we can then, perhaps using the magic of computers, put into different formats as we go. Yeah, let's increase the size of the text. This is supposed to be 14. What have I been? Oh, I've been using 18 elsewhere. There we go. Yeah, hopefully that's a bit nicer to look at on a phone. Alrighty. So let's adjust the size of these columns then, because I think we're going to need a little bit more room. All right. Great. So then the first question is, what stage of the language are we going to be documenting here? I think, so where do we have our little, I think, yeah, we here, you can see how organized I am, right? We have this rough outline of the stages of Lenethailef. Roughly there are 4 or 5, I guess. We have Old Lenethailef, Low and High Middle Lenethailef, which actually are sort of simultaneous. Then we have Early Modern Lenethailef and Modern Lenethailef. And so we have some sound changes, some grammatical changes that occur between these. Probably a bit confusing, but I think it'll come out as we go along. So what we've been describing is mostly Old Lenethailef. So I'd like to include Old Lenethailef information with the elaborate ablaut system, but I want the dictionary to be of modern Lenethailef. So it's going to be able to show the influence of the different other languages that came into contact with Lenethailef. Lenethailef has a really interesting story where it first went under the influence of its sister language, Eustamia, which was something like almost like a sacred language, kind of with a similar role as Latin had on the vernacular languages of much of Europe. Then it gets influenced by a language, Kranslor, which is from a completely different family, from the Sakrat family, which is very different grammatically and phonologically. And as a result, a Creole forms due to this contact between Lenethailef and Kranslor. And we see Middle Lenethailef transition into Early Modern Lenethailef, in which we have extensive regularization of nouns and verbs, perhaps coming from this influence of many second language speakers of Lenethailef, or some aspect of the language contact situation. Then modern Lenethailef will happen. We haven't discussed too much what's going on there, but there will be something. So the point is that modern Lenethailef will show all the different layers of the language, from its earliest stages to the influence from Eustamia, to the influence from Kranslor and the Creole, up to the present. So we can have a bit more fun with it that way. Okay. Oh, Raven, welcome. Tentatively, potentially, welcome back to full potential attendance soon. That would be great. All right, so that's the plan. Let's get working. So we have our lexicon here. And I think what we have to do is let's start with the Old Lenethailef layer, and let's give all of these forms in all their glory and ablauting, all of their ablauting glory rather. and then we can move forward from there. So let's look at what we have in our worksheet. We have a few. Okay, so we can just start by mining what we've already got and putting it into some sort of a logical order. So avidus is a term meaning because. Avidus, we can call this, well, yeah, we can call this a conjunction. And we can gloss it because. Where does this come from? I believe we have to work backwards for that. So let's take a look. It comes from afi, to be thus, in protocol. So it comes from afi, and then a suffix, which would have been tohwa. There it is. The tohwa suffix, the conditional one, which has a meaning like because. So the meaning of this form that becomes avidus is something like given that it is thus, which is a good way to say because. A bit wordy, I guess, in the English translation, but avitohwe, afitohwe. So this is thus, to be thus, conditional one. So roughly, yeah, that's a bit technically written, but I think we can handle it for now. So avidus, that's the etymology there. Okay, let's move on. Fire. Fire is swan. So we need to look and see if we've actually made any decisions about fire. We have. It's a fairly irregular noun. So fire, f, and fire. And this is an I stem noun, and it means swan. And this comes from Payawi, swan. So far we haven't. I saw this come up in the chat. Semantic drift. There will be semantic drift. I think the words that we started out with don't have much, but we're going to build it in as we go. Okay, what's next? Let's finish up this sentence. Naiva. Naiva meaning feather. All right. Naiva. What did that come from? So we're kind of being etymologists here. Let's look at feather. Nafia. Okay, so nafia is the etymology. Feather still means feather. And this is an A stem. Now we need to derive what the various forms will look like. So how do we do that? There is a way, and it requires lexergy. So open up lexergy. Here we go. So we need nafia, and we're going to go to the proto-grammar spreadsheet, and we're going to use our fancy noun form generator, and we're going to put in nafia, and we get the whole paradigm. Isn't that nice? That's nice. So this will let us work out what the different ablaut classes will be. So naiva, navi, navanam, navov. So it looks like it's naiva and navi. Oh, no, wait. Let me just do this a little bit less quickly. So naiva, 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 navi, navanum, navov. Okay, so it's naiva, nuv, and navi. That's the those are the three. Where I can never find anything in this spreadsheet. Lexicon. Naiva, nuv, navi. Great. Okay. Moving on to something. Avidas via naiva mon, the copula. Where did the copula come from? So this is the copula. I don't know where this came from. I'm sure past me, if I could go back and consult past Colin, he would have a good answer for me. But I think we're going to have to do some digging. So where could this have come from? Mon. I'm looking for something that starts with an M here. And I'm not sure. So etymology, unknown. All right. So this is a copula. Are we going to have this inflect like a verb? Not quite sure yet. So let's just leave it blank. Is this going to be a verb or is this going to be something else? Just something that is indeclinable? I do not know. All right. So avidas via naiva mon mazel. Mazel. This is the word meaning white. Mas. Okay. So we have mas here. Let's put in because that's easy. This is a preposition meaning like. What is the etymology of this? This is going to be UFO. UFO. If I put that through Lexicon, is it going to give us No, it's going to give us oof. So where did come from? I don't know. All right, so etymology unknown. I like this. See, the fact that I can't remember these things makes this all the more mysterious. Etymology unknown. I'm sure there was one, but okay. So then let's look at the word for white, mazel here, but that is in an inflected form. And that's from masala. So let's put that over into grammar. And, nope, this is a noun. This is what we want, masala. So then let's take this beautiful paradigm and put it into Lexicon and see what happens. Yeah, so we have mas, mazla, and mazel. I think, yeah. So mas, mazl, and mazel. I'm about to sneeze. Nope, I avoided it. Yes. They say if you just look up a little bit. I don't know. Seems to work. Okay, so this is a verb. This means white. And this comes from masala, which meant, where is it? Masala, bright or white. So here we have some semantic narrowing. I think we could just make this mean bright, or sorry, mean white. Masala. And interestingly, masala has its own etymology that we can reconstruct from the root masa, meaning bright or white, and then some sort of a strange stem extender, which we don't know the reason for. Lovely. All right. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the chat because I have been neglecting you. I apologize, chat. Yeah, galactic sand. But the nice thing is, interrogating my past self is, it's kind of like doing a little bit of research, you know. It's like someone else came up with this stuff and I'm just sort of poking around and seeing what happened. Except that person who came up with it was, you know, in at least in large part, a version of me, which makes it delightfully fun to try and retrace the thought process. Yeah, echoed words. Maybe it comes from uque. Let's see what happens. It doesn't look like that's going to work with the rules. Very very strange. Although it does seem like it would have come from uque. So maybe from uque. And let's get the gloss for that to go through. All right. Okay, so then let's just impose a little bit more order here. Oh, wait. This is a schwa stem. I should put that in. Let's impose a little bit of order. And let's sort by form. Boom. Done. Okay. Oh, yeah, Dylan, thank you. The orthography. Mazel. Orthography strikes again. I know it's tough. It's tough out there. It's tough to be a Colin, you know, wandering around in all these orthographies and these languages. But we persevere. Okay. What's next? What's next? We've mined the first sentence at least. Let's see what we can do with the second. And hopefully this will start to lead us into some more, I don't know, some less backfilly things. Sotten. Oh, yeah. So, do you want... Here's one for Sotten. Here's what going out to Sotten out there. Do you want to talk about the passive case today? Because I was thinking we might do it later on this month. But since you're here now, we can talk about it now. Up to you. So while Sotten's thinking about that, and no pressure by any stretch, I will continue and I'll just do a few more of these little words here. Moch. Moch is this interesting. I've glossed it as rel. So this is some sort of a relative marker. I don't know if we're going to call it anything in particular yet, but this is a relativizer. And where does it come from? Moch. Well, let's look at something that looks like... I can't for the life of me think of what this might have been. There's something that was vowel initial, where the vowel dropped out. I can't for the life of me think where these things came from. That's fine. That's good. Let's unknown etymology. Love it. Moch, Hazen, black. So Hazen, where does this come from? Let's look for the word black here. Fasana. Ah. Okay, fasana. A stem from fasana, which I believe black dark. Okay. Cool. And we can gloss this black. Hasen. So we need to figure out what the different classes are for this. Most of these will get regularized out as we go, but I think, maybe something like the basic colors won't. Yeah, so Yiddish actually was an inspiration for, in the very, very first episode, going way back. That was one of the things that was shouted out into the chat to come at the, to be sort of a seed of inspiration for the family. So, yeah, I guess we do have, it's deep in the DNA of this language. Okay, yeah, Sutton. We'll put a rain check on passive, on the passive case stuff until later. Yeah. It's true. Sometimes it's hard to jump in. Hopefully, I'm giving enough little signposts. So, but if it's anything confusing ever, just write in the chat, and hopefully I will make sure to clarify anything, because this is coming after 6 months of working on this family. We're I don't know if you can believe it, but this channel's been around now, putting up streams for 6 months, which is kind of cool, and so a lot's happened. A lot of decisions have been made. A lot of thought and a lot of furrowed brows have got into this family, especially because it's been with us since the very start. Ship, you're not totally sure what's going on. Well, it's possible that I'm not 100% sure about what's going on all the time, but you know what? We persevere. So let's figure out what this Fasana's doing. Sort of, I miss having Lucy around. Last time it was great. We could, we could go. We had a back and forth. I liked that. I don't know. And it gave my voice a break, not to be the only one talking all the time. We should get her back. We should get her back on. Okay, so let's find out what kind of verb Fasana is going to look like. Hasen, Hazen, and Hazan. Okay, so it looks like, let's find a representative form for each of these three ablaut classes. So we need blue. Blue is the second one. So it basically goes 1, 2, 3. Green. And sorry, you can't see this. Green, blue, orange. So Hazen, Hazen, Hazana. Okay. So if I can now find my way back to the, where on earth is my lexicon? Hazen, Hazen, Hazana. So that's a verb. Okay. Yeah, documentation's hard. I think that documentation, you have to be kind of in the right mood for it. I'm in that mood now. I'm not always. I'm not often, actually. But I find sometimes coming back and trying to systematize things, you find out that there are inconsistencies, and those can be kind of fun, because if you try and work out a way to have your cake and eat it too, you can introduce what I like to call delightful complications. Okay. So sonum. Okay, no, we haven't finished this. Skoft. Skoft is coal. Great word. Love the word. Skoft. Coal. Noun. What is the root? You know what? Let's get another version of this up here. What is the root? Let's find coal. We don't have coal. What's going on? I remember this though. We did have a word for coal. Oh, sequopata, which is a compound of some kind. What does it mean? Sequo, fire. Ah, yes, sequopata is like fire rock. Yeah, fire rock. Scoffed. Oh, that came out nice. Scoffed. Yeah, quain, it's a compound. Fire rock in this case. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's finish this little sentence here, and then we'll put in a YouTube break. Next, sonum. So this is a dative form of the third person pronoun. So here we have this is the third person pronoun, so we could just call it three. Person. This is a pronoun. However, it's going to definitely take part in these in the fun. So let's see if we can. So let's put it through the noun form generator. Oops. Okay, so here we go. Oh no, it doesn't like it. Okay, I think that's this one. So let's just. All right, you can't make comments. That's fine. Sonum. All right, I'll have to. I'll make a note to self to fix that rule. But sonum, sof, soiven, sof, som. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna have a few that are like soy, something like that, for the accusative. But yeah, essentially it's so. So it's actually kind of more regular than the others, which is kind of funny. But let's just say it's irregular. And this is from so, a third person pronoun. Nothing too interesting there, actually, sadly. I thought it was going to be more interesting than that. But we, again, as I always say, we persevere. We have to keep going through this stuff. All right. Quoth, give, past. Oh, I feel like quoth is just a great word for gave. I don't know. Yeah, Galactic Sand is it's a vibe. Commenting stuff out until it works. Do any of the roots and stems undergo ablaut when compounded? I guess it depends. If the compound is if it's a really early compound, then I would expect them just to be treated as a single morphological unit with respect to the ablaut system. If it's a later compound, I would expect. So essentially, that would be what you get in with Lexergy, just putting the stuff in and letting it go. But with later compounds, I don't know. I think it would have to depend on when it was coined. So if it's coined in the old Lenethailef period, then it would probably undergo ablaut. Maybe one of the two, like the head of the compound, would undergo ablaut, but then the other element wouldn't. And then if it's later, then I would expect compounds to just be treated like their head noun. So let's maybe look at an example. If you had a word like, I don't know, one. So say we made a compound out of sukswan, the evil eye, sukswan. and that was still transparent as being evil and I, then we would expect wan to just inflect like wan, like it normally does, which is actually quite irregular. But if it came into the language earlier and then it had been reduced a bit and wasn't still identifiable as being evil and I, then maybe it would have a different ablaut pattern. And then if it came much later, when we have these regular noun classes, maybe then it would just be treated as a regular noun. So I guess there are all sorts of options depending on what you want to do. You can kind of make it go the way you want. But I did promise to finish this with some speed for YouTube. So let's put quoth in here. So quoth is a verb meaning to give. It's the past tense of a verb meaning to give. This is the verb quo. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So grammar, we have the verb quo. And it looks like this. Quo, cuf, quot, quon, quish, cook, quos, cook, quothus, quovel, quof. Okay, interesting. So it looks like quo. And then so let's find, I think better with colors here. So stem A is green, stem B is blue, stem C is orange. So if we look at, and again, apologies that you can't see this, it's very frustrating. There we go. Okay, so quo is definitely our orange stem. Ku is our blue stem, so that's going to be romanized CU. And then the orange stem, the third one, right, is okay, is quo as well. So let's put it a cut here because I'm getting a little bit of that effect of mental overload. The only thing we have to do is sukswan. So let's just put one in. This is irregular. Quo is an O stem. And suks, I think we will have to investigate that next time. So this means I. This means evil. This means give. And this is going to come from the protoform quo, give. This one is going to come from a form wana, meaning I. And suks, which may be inflected actually. Now that I think about it, I think it's just suk on its own. We'll have to verify that, but let's see. Evil. Sasuka. Yeah. Sasuka meaning evil. Okay, I think we've done enough chores for now. Let's bid farewell to YouTube. YouTube, thank you so much. We have been, taking control back of our lives with this dictionary. We're getting an actual definitive source about what everything means, so we don't accidentally make the same word twice or forget something. And we're encountering that encountering the fact that we don't always remember what we did in the past, and sometimes that can be, in a bizarre sense, a blessing. But anyway, we will see you next time, YouTube. Come back and join us, and we'll make some more words together. Okay. Brief stretch, brief hydration. Yeah, quochupa becoming kuf. That is classic Lenethailef. The nice thing is, if you are And yeah, ship, if you do make the same word twice, you can just say, oh, it's a register difference, or it's a dialect difference, or something like that. But, okay. Okay. All right. So, I'm good. I got all my screens here. I got everything. Nothing seems to be no one seems to be messaging me saying, oh, the stream is really wonky or anything like that. So we're good. Okay, next time I want to show you a text, a little bit of world building that I've been doing, and we can make it into a little text that we can translate. So that's the next thing. And I promised on Discord, or at least I hinted on Discord, that I was giggling, and that viewers should be warned that there may be some funny giggle-worthy things coming up. Maybe not to the degree of the chicken poem, but, along those lines. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Yeah, get ready. Crack the knuckles, all that good jazz. All right, let's say hi to YouTube again. Hello, YouTube. Today, I think we should talk a little bit more about world building, because we've been doing a bit of grammar, we've been doing a bit of vocabulary, and now I think we need to polish up the world building, and I have just the thing. Okay, so where am I going to just put myself? I'm going to put myself off to the corner so we can talk about this. I have been working on some texts, some in-universe texts for Lenethailef, and we'll probably do a version in Eustamia as well. Maybe the original's in Eustamia. And I'll show it to you. Okay, so essentially in the Sakrat family, we have a lot of focus on chickens. And I was thinking in the Kal family, we could have kind of a focus on owls. And for those of you who don't know, owls are my favorite sort of meme animal. Whenever anyone finds this out, next birthday, Christmas, etc., I get owl stuff, and I'm not complaining. So owls all the way. So I figure we can't have world building go on and there not be owls involved in some way. So here is what I give to you, which is the sacred book, the sacred text, the Book of the Nine Owls. And here is an excerpt. And I'll read it to you. And the owls came, and they were 9. And they were wise, and they were knowing. And they saw the world, and they knew it was good. And they flew, and they flew, and they flew. And they flew all over the world, and they saw all that was in it. And they saw the people, and they knew them, and they were glad. And the 9 owls flew to the 9 corners of the world, and they saw 9 suns in the sky. And they saw 9 moons in the sky, and they saw 9 stars in the sky. So I think we have a vibe going here. And then I have some secondary sources that talk about this. So the Proverbs of the Blessed Ones of the Owl are a collection of moral sayings that are meant to guide and instruct readers on how to live a good and virtuous life. Some of the Proverbs include, it is better to be wise than to be strong. It is better to be good than to be rich. And it is better to be humble than to be proud. And there's also some history that I've been working on. The War of the False Owl is a conflict that takes place in the Book of the Nine Owls between the true owls and the false owls. The false owls are led by a creature called the Witch Owl, and they seek to destroy the true owls and take over their world. The true owls are eventually victorious, but at great cost. The root cause, now, here's the history essay version. The root cause of the War of the False Owl was the Witch Owl's desire for power and domination. Okay, that's like a C essay. The A essay is this. A more sophisticated analysis of the causes of the War of the False Owl would include the following factors. The Witch Owl's ambition and desire for power. The False Owl's feelings of inferiority and resentment towards the True Owls. And the True Owl's refusal to submit to the Witch Owl's authority. So, this is kind of like the basic version. So this is a C plus, maybe. Yeah, let's be generous, C plus. And I think this is an A minus because I think it does get at some of the root causes, but it only scratches the surface. And also, you know, this is sort of the false owl's feelings of inferiority and resentment towards the true owls. Okay, but let's go deeper. Where does that come from? But still, pretty good essay. So, you know, I think it'd have to be a bit longer, but yeah. So essentially in the past, and I haven't really made up my mind as to actually if these are actual owls that are having this war, or these are just people who consider themselves owls, or something like that. But we have a whole history of sacred books, something very, very biblical seeming here, with all the ands that start the sentences. That's pretty typical. We have maybe some other texts that are not so canonical, not part of the Book of the Nine Owls, but sort of later, the Proverbs of the Blessed Ones of the Owl. And then there's a war that's mentioned in the text, the Book of the Nine Owls, between the false owls and the true owls. So what does this all mean for us today? We're starting to weave together a tapestry, if you will. So the early history of Lenethailef is going to be focused around this belief system, or this at least this text, the Book of the Nine Owls, which is something like a sacred text for them. I'd imagine it comes from the Eustamia. That would be the language in which the text is written originally. So in Lenethailef, it might be a translation. And there's a very owl-centric point of view. Later on, Kranslor speakers come and dominate the region, and they have a much more chicken-centric view of the world. And so we have the Great War of the Owl and the Chicken, something like that. So this means that we need words for some of these things, because we're going to be talking about owls a lot. So that's going to be the next plan. So we need to go back to our lexicon, and we actually need to see if we've come up with a word for owl in Proto-Call. I don't think we have. I feel like I would have remembered that. Owl. Nothing. Okay, so we need now a word for owl. And this is going to be a very important word that we're going to say a lot, so it should be a good one. Let's see. Let's go back to the proto-language, which we haven't touched very much recently. Do we have a phonology for this? Yeah, we do. Okay, here we go. So proto-language is phonology. So we need an owl. Quayne's saying the word for owl should start with ch in Lenethailef. Is that something that we can manage, given the Lenethailef sound changes? Let's see. Let's just play around a little bit. Where does the ch come from in Lenethailef? I have to ponder a bit. I have to look at the sound changes. Yeah, it's not going to be so easy to read this. And you know what? Don't even look at this. It's just going to give you a headache. Let's just play around and see what we can do. So let's go over to Lexicon and see if we can come up with something that will have a ch at the start. A yell. Well, that is not what I expected. Owl. I think we get rid of the fricatives, those fricatives intervocalically, so it's very hard to come up with a ch at the start. Yeah. Let's see. Let's look at let's try this suggestion of Taga's Quanamo. What does this look like in Lenethailef? And then let's get up another one, and we can see what it looks like in Eustamia. So that is going to be fun. Okay. Sound changes. So quanamo. This gives us quanum. And quanamo into Eustamia gives us qanamu. Ah, the camera's always blocking the results. How am I going to do this? Where am I going to put myself so that I am not blocking anything important? Chat box, webcam box. Maybe if I just scooch down. Maybe down here. Maybe that works. Yeah. Okay. So we get quanum and qanamu. So that would look like, and then if we did the whole paradigm, oops. So we get, oh, the suffering, okay. We get yeah, I think there's an error with some of these, with one of the sound changes I put in recently. So why don't I just, these are the middle Lenethailef sound changes. So let's just get rid of them for now and take us to old Lenethailef. There we go. Quanum, quanamoich, quanamonum, quanamum. So that would look like this in Lenethailef. So it would look like quanum, quanum, and quanama. And that would be an O stem. Right. I don't dare put myself in the center of the screen. Can you imagine? All right. So maybe this could be our word for owl. Because I like qanamu in Lenethailef as well, in Eustamia as well. Quanum. I like that. Okay, echoed words. Let's talk a little bit about how verb stems work in Lenethailef briefly. So they're essentially, and this is actually an incomplete set of paradigms, but we have various kind of conjugation classes depending on, let's go over here. And now we run into the problem of having me in the lower left. We have various conjugation classes depending on the final vowel in protocol. So although you can't really tell the difference between ton, umus, maslach, and soimen in Lenethailef, they actually all ended in different vowels in protocol. And then we have different inflected forms. So the predicative form, when the verb is used as a predicate. So something like I run. The continuative form, which is something like and I run. The past form, I ran. The negative form, I don't run. Note that the negative form is used instead of the past form. So the past negative is kind of a question as to how that's done. We need to use auxiliaries in order to do that. The presumptive, which is something like I probably run, or I will run, or even I believe let's run. The conditional to, which is a counterfactual conditional. So if I ran, such and such would happen. The attributive, this is when it's used as an adjective. So running, the person who runs, the running person. A substantive, this is like a verbal noun. So running is fun. I like to run. Conditional one, which is like if I run, I get tired. So it's not a counterfactual conditional. It's like whenever I run, I get tired. It's like that. And sorry, you can't see the names of these. Suffering. Conditional one. The concessive, Even though I run, I never seem to lose any weight. That would be an example sentence there. And or even though I run, I can't get away from these dogs that are chasing me. Imperative, just the order. Run. Okay, so there we go. Those are the different verb forms that we inherit from protocol. But because of the different stress patterns in the protocol forms, these end up looking very different in Eustamia, or in Old Eustamia at least. So we get roughly 3 patterns that occur. We get a pattern when the green pattern, which is only found in the predicative form. So, for example, in the verb to shine, we have mazlach. So that's the green form. And then we have other forms, like the blue form, which a lot of the other verbal endings take. So they make the verb show up in that blue form. So mazlach is the blue form of this verb, mazlach. Then there's also an orange form, mazlar. And that is, actually, I believe it should be mazlara, now that I think of it, because they all have that in common. Anyway, so mazlaga, which then takes which if you're talking about the past, it has to be in this orange form. So these are what we then write down here in the order 1, 2, 3, which corresponds to green, blue, orange. So hopefully that's some kind of clarification on that. It's actually really, really complicated. And as a result, it doesn't last very long, and it gets regularized into something that just doesn't change the stem at all. So enoch, enoref, enoret, enoren, enorish, enorek, enoris, enorek, enoridus, enorival, enoref. Ta-da. So that's how the verb stems in Lenethailef work. All fricatives in Lenethailef are voiced when surrounded by voiced sounds on both sides. So you get mazlach, but mazlarof. So in practice, that means that something that's voiceless. So here's another example: umas, a mazuf, a mazaish. What's another example? Manth, mandhoich, mandhonum, mandhof. Or I think that's it. Yeah, the students of the old Lenethailef course are suffering because of this. Okay, so cool. So we are now at the point where we've got a workable word for owl, quanum, and let's do the work on the evil, just so that we don't have this hanging over our heads. So sasuka is the root. So let's put it through the verb form generator. Sasuka. And this gives us Sezak. Oh yeah, this is a really weird one. This is really weird. Sezak. Saruf. Suk. Such. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this one. This is super weird. How are we gonna I just want to, I don't know. Let's take the time to actually write this down. So let's just assume that we have, I don't know. Let's take this over here. And let's just put down these forms. So Sezak Seruf, Suk, Such, Seraish, Serok, Suks, Suk, I need my special E. Sere, this, no, Serevel, and Suk. So when we look at this, we put our nice colors on, we actually see that there's more irregularity than we're used to, because the negative is such and not something like suchen or suken. Anyway, regardless, sezek, ser. Sezek, ser, suk. That's the entry. So sezek, ser, suk. Okay. Why does this irregularity happen? It's because we have intervocalic frication, and at the time when, so this is what I believe happens. We have intervocalic frication in Lenethailef at the time that let's go back to the forms. So at the time that the orange forms, at the time of that frication, the orange forms do not have this k as intervocalic, but this orange form does. Then that drops out, and the relevant vowel drops out, leaving an n here, which also gets deleted because suchne is not consonant with the norms of Lenethailef syllable structure, no pun intended, and so we get such. That's, I believe, what happened. Hashtag old Lenethailef summer. It's happening. It's happening. Okay. Yeah. So now we can say evil owl, which would be, well, how would we say evil owl? We'd have to look at the word for evil. Well, this is, by the way, a schwa stem. Sezek, ser, suk. We then look at, in the grammar, what do we use for attributive, essentially like attributive adjectives? The attributive form, which is suks. So we then say evil owl. Okay, I'm lost. Evil owl is sux quanum. Sux quanum. Like that. That's kind of cool. Okay. Galactic Sand is... Pay no attention to any relationship between what's happening today and what's happening on Thursday. There is no relationship whatsoever. As far as we need to get Lenethailef on Duolingo. Stat. All right. So the other thing we wanted to do was talk about the true owl and the false owl. The true owls and the false owls, rather. The two sides in the war of the false owl. So we need a word for true and a word for false. And I don't believe that we're going to have any help. Let's take a look. Now, where is our proto-lexicon? Here we go. True. False. Nothing. So we have a blank slate. What are we going to do? Let's get our proto sound system up. And let's make a word for true and false. Up we go. There is a word for good. So let's find it. Sofa. Sofa is good. So maybe we can have some semantic drift, because you've been clamoring for semantic drift. I've wanted to give it to you, so let's do it. Let's take the word for good and turn it into a word for true. So sofa. Sofa, rather. And I'm having such trouble finding things in this spreadsheet. It's because I've got so many spreadsheets and so many tabs, and well, you don't need to hear my problems. So since this is a stative verb, we'll put it through this. Originally, this is going back a ways, sofa in protocol was a dynamic stem verb. What does that mean? That means that it actually has a slightly different structure than, has different endings than the others. Now, they don't end up mattering in Lenethailef because final vowel qualities get obliterated, so we don't have to worry too much about it. All I will say is that all I'll say is, oh my goodness, I have to look at this. This is actually too much. This whole like stem class system from pre-protocol, this is too much. It's just, okay. So I have to figure out which one of these are going to have a and which one are going to have a. So in stem A, we have full grade in the root, so a, so sofa. In stem B and C, we have reduced grade in the root, so we have sofa. So which ones are B and C? Continuative is B, so sofachupa. Sofata. C, so sofa aquae, sofa oqua. So all of these other ones have schwas. If you're not following this part, don't even bother, because it's just, there's no reason for me to have done this so complicatedly. It is what it is, and it has to be respected. So let's see what it comes up with. Okay, sof, savuf, socht, soven, savaish, savok, sochs, soch, savedach. Okay, so we have a nice sof, savu, or just sav. Yeah, just sav. And then for the last one, we have save. So this means true. And this comes from sofa, meaning good. Phew. Yeah. Quain's right. The remembering the reasons why this came into being was because I wanted to make compounds in Eustamia come from, or I wanted to make longer words in Eustamia come from compounds in protocol. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the ablaut is becoming annoying. I think what we have to do is just say enough's enough. We are going to have ablaut for common verbs and common nouns, and that's it. So maybe we'll push back the reorganization of the ablaut system even into old Lenethailef. So, feather will always be naiva because it's not high frequency enough to be irregular. I think that's what we might have to do. So, but the point is we now have a way to say the false owls, which is sos. So we have sos quanum. This HS cluster is interesting. Sos quanum, the false owls. Or false owl, because plural isn't a thing that is morphologically marked in this language. And I feel like the last thing we should do, and then we should put in a YouTube break, is figure out how to say the war of the false owl. So we need a word for war. Let's make this a fun one. I think we could probably give it something like, I don't know. Let's take suggestions from the chat. We need a root for war. Gele. Okay. Thank you, echoed words. Gele. What is this going to turn into in Lenethailef, I wonder? Shale. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, yeah, you're right. Right. Quain, you're right. This is actually the word of the true owl, so we need to come up with a word for false as well. Okay. So we could just call it untrue or something. Sorry, owl. I called a false owl a true owl, which means that I am not one of the blessed of the owl and will surely perish. Sad. Okay, so we have the word shale, and let's just say we're not doing any nonsense for this one. This is a shale. It means war. It comes from gele, meaning war. It's an a stem, but it's actually irregular, so it's just a regular verb, a regular noun. It's a noun. This is a verb. This is a noun. Verb, noun, verb. Okay, good. Yeah, we all perished in the end, don't we? None of us can be true to the true owl in all things. Okay, so let's figure out false. So if we have sofa being going to true, maybe we can have sasofa meaning false. Let's just see what happens. So sa is our un or bad prefix in protocol. So it's almost identical. Sazaf. So what if we had sazaf as a regular verb? Ooh, what happened? There we go. False. False. And this comes from ungood. Sazaf. That could work. Sofa has a negative form already. It has a morphologically, like an inflected negative form, but I'm talking about a derivational negative form. All right. Sazaf. So that could be our word for false. And so going back to the regular attributive, which is us, so sazavus. So then the war of the false owl would be something like, let's go all the way down. The war of the false owl would be something like war, false, attributive, owl, dative, because we're having this cool dative of possession thing. I just want to put it in. Okay, so what would this look like? This is backwards. So shale Saesivus quantum. Except we have to make quantum into dative, which is going to be, where is it? There it is. Blue form anum, or blue form. Actually, what is it? It's an oo. It's an o. I don't know. I'm getting tired, friends. I'm getting tired. Oh, it's an o stem. Okay, so let's look at o stem. So that is going to be here, which is onum. So the blue stem quinamonum. And then we ask ourselves, are we happy with this? Shale Saesivus quinamonum. This is getting there, but I don't think we're there yet. Yeah, dative is it's a case that is used for the something like the recipient of a verb, like to give. So I gave the book to the owl. To the owl would be something that you might expect to be dative. That's one thing that's interesting is that in many languages, the dative starts to become a possessor. So, Shale Saesivus quinamonum. I feel like we're kind of there, but I think we need a bit more work. But I need to just have a little Zen moment so I can clear my head and get the powers of focus back. So I will take this opportunity to say goodbye to YouTube and come back soon. We're going to hear all about the Book of the Nine Owls, the War of the False Owl, and maybe even if we're lucky, the Proverbs of the Blessed Ones of the Owl. And as the owl said, it is better to be wise than to be strong. So on that note, I will leave you for today. See you next time, YouTube. Okay. Hello, chat. How is everyone doing today? Can I just say I love the way Welsh looks. I know very little about Welsh. It's always been kind of this cool. So back in, maybe about 10 years ago, I was pretty seriously involved with studying Irish and Scottish Gaelic and doing research on them as well. And I never really touched Welsh. And it's always been something that, it's always been one of my bucket list languages. Chorizo, are you doing ill in the sense of like early 2000s slang? Like that's ill? Like, I don't know. Chillin', like a villain, maybe a little illin, this kind of thing. Or are you legitimately ill? In which case, I hope you get better soon. YouTube. Yeah, the W's. Brilliant. If I'm the dictionary, who's the lexicon? I mean, we might have to do it. We might have to put it to a vote. I think if I were to do the thumbnail for this video over again, I would get myself up in like a Louis XIV, a Louis XIV garb, and have I am the dictionary like that, or maybe in a Judge Dredd outfit, like I am the law but I'm the dictionary. Well, hey Lucy, when you end up watching this to do the edits, ideas. Okay, so you're not feeling too well, Chorizo. Well, yes, I wish you get well soon. It is not fun to be sick at any time, but yeah, hopefully you're on the road to recovery. Let's see. Intro content is. Are you not entertained? Is this not intro content? I just for the this is a little behind the scenes for everyone. I have absolutely nothing to say about the intro content. I do not have any control over it whatsoever. I give the video to Lucy, and then things happen, and good things happen. So I'm not going to mess with success, but if you have any requests for things to go in the intro, do not send them to me. Lucy likes to also choose things where I say something ridiculous, or I make a goofy sound or a face or something like that and put them in. So it's good. It's good. Another behind the scenes tidbit is that the thumbnails are also not decided on by me. I give like general guidelines. This is what the episode's going to be about, and then I give a bunch of photographs, and then the creativity of Lucy takes control. Okay. All right. So what are we going to do next? Oh, we have opinions about romanizations coming in the chat. Yeah. DD for the. I kind of like that. I don't know. What are your options when it comes to the anyway? You can use D. You can use DD. You can use DH. Not a ton of options unless you want to go into special characters. Or you can just TH it and say, good luck. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, I'm trying to think, what should we do next? Because my brain is starting to have that feeling of, gears moving increasingly slowly. I think maybe what we should do is translate some of our some of the Book of the Nine Owls. I think that would be fun. Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll do a little bit of translation. We'll translate some of these lovely proverbs maybe, and yeah, be a nice, relaxing, and wisdom-enhancing segment. All right. Sutton, Z for the. That's interesting. Does that have a natural language analog? Or is that from the mind of Sutton? All right, I'm going to say hello to YouTube. I think we need like I don't know, like a stream spa day or something. I just feel like I've got a lot of tension here. All right. YouTube, welcome back. We are about to enhance our wisdom by reading from the Book of the Nine Owls, which is a very, very special and sacred text for the speakers of old Lenethailef. And so we're going to learn about the owls. Why are there 9 of them? What did they do? And we're going to learn about some of the proverbs of the blessed ones of the owl, which is really a collection of moral sayings that's going to guide us. And we're going to use all of this as an excuse to develop more vocabulary and more grammar in Lenethailef. So that's the plan. Let's scoot over to the side webcam and let's begin. All right, translation from the Book of the Nine Owls. And the owls came and they were 9. Interesting. Okay, so given let's just space things out a little bit so that we're not so claustrophobic here. So we have this kind of stylistic affectation here of starting a sentence with and, gives it a sort of a biblical flavor, totally intentional. We can replicate that by using the continuative form in Lenethailef. So let's find a verb meaning roughly to come, which we don't have in our official lexicon yet, but we may find in the proto-lexicon. Yes, memena. So let's give ourselves a Lenethailef descendant of memena. And because this is such a common verb, I think we'll keep the irregularity here. We'll keep the ablaut. Okay, so mem is going to be form 1. And then mumn is going to be form 2. M-E-M-N. And form 3 is going to be mamena. Except I need our special E with the diacritic. Mamena. V. To come. It's an A stem. And this comes from the root memena. Sparsh saying that the words seem to have pretty static meaning across time. Yeah, for now. We'll get there. We've been changing a few of them, but we've got sort of a lot on our minds at the moment just to try and come up with the grammar. So to throw in a lot of semantic drift at the same time, I don't know. It's good, but I can only handle, my brain has limited bandwidth, as I'm sure viewers of this channel have no doubt noticed. So then let's say, so we need owl. Why is this so small? Everything should be size 18. Owl, come, continuative. I think we'll just sacrifice the past tense there. Right. And then let's have something like well, we're going to need a copula in this next sentence and 9. But what are we going to do with this? Because we don't have... I was playing around with the idea that the copula would just be indeclinable. It would just be a plain, just mon as the copula. But the more I think about that, the more I think it might not be possible. So why don't we just say it's a verb, and then we'll have to come up with different forms. So then we'd need continuant. The what did we call that? The continuative form? Yeah. So this is what we want. Mame mama. Is conflict and war going to be the same word? Maybe, or maybe we could take a eustamia word for the more high register conflict. Actually, yeah. Why don't we say we're going to do that? So shale is war, but we also have chele that goes into eustamia as ili. So ili could be a loan word into Lenethailef as just ili. So now we have ili, a noun meaning conflict. Boom! Decision made. There we go. And so this is from eustamia, ili, war. So I think these kind of doublets, like shale and ili, are going to happen a lot. And we may even have, opportunities to do some more before the end of today. I like this. And obviously that's not going to take part in any ablaut. Okay, so the owl and the owls came and they were 9. So then let's look. Okay, so the continuative form is blue, and for so it's a blue form, so which means we're taking the second stem, which is mumn, and it's an a stem, so that means we're taking the a stem endings off. So mumnof. So quanum mumnof. And then we need to figure out how to say and they were 9. Yeah, it's like war and ward and guard, beef and cow, these kinds of things. Fun doublets. We don't have a word for 9, I'm pretty sure, so we'll need to make that up. That one I feel very comfortable with not having any semantic drift on. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure we don't have it. We do not have it. So let's come up with it. Proto-grammar. I will ask the chat, do you have any suggestions for a root for the number 9? Galactic Sand. I like this idea of having a dedicated clause linker rather than just using the continuative form on the next verb. So why don't we do this? Why don't we use our old verb to be thus, and we'll say something like, and it was the case that they were 9. So we can use the continuative form of the old verb afi. So afi chupa. Nope. Which will look like Aviv. Oh, that was loud. Okay. What base is it? I'm assuming for now base 10. We can maybe make Sakrat have a different base, and then that would be fun. But for now, base 10. So yeah, for simplicity. So 1 less than 10. Okay. So maybe something like 1 from 10. So okay, so we've made ourselves more problems here because we don't have 1 or 10, I believe. So let's do that. So 1, 10, no. No, we have none of these things. But I've seen some things come up. So Tano and Pene. So maybe we have this 1 and 10. And then 1 from 9 could be 1 from 10. What would be our from 10? We have nouns, right? Where are our nouns? We don't really have anything like from, do we? No source. Yeah. Why did we not make something like that? Let's go back to the lexicon. Let's look if there's anything like from. Or maybe we can use the genitive. Like with the meaning of out of. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't think we have anything that we can use for this. Yeah, do we have down or without? Let's see. Down. We do. We do. Nala. Okay, this is good. We'll use this. Okay, so then let's see. Where did we put the... Where did we put this? Okay, so... I'm so confused. Where are we? Where am I right now? Here we go. Tano pene. So this could be something like... Tano nala pene. Or pene nala. Seems quite long. Maybe we could even do some crunching before we get to the sound change. So something like tano penale, or penale. Tano pena. Maybe tano pena, maybe. No pena. Maybe that could be it. Okay, Galactic has another suggestion here. Lonale. Let's run these through our sound changes and see which ones we like the looks of. 9. Ugh. And of course, it is off screen once again. I can't win. I can't win with these things. Okay. Yeah, lonale. Tano, pene, lonale. Tan, fein, loinal. That kind of works. Loinal. Tanu, pini, lunali. Or lunali, rather. I like this. Okay, so, boom. Here we go. So then let's go back to tan, fein, loinal. Loinal. It's an interesting sound. Loinal Richie. So these are our numerals. 1, 10, 9. Loinal. Avif, mon. Okay, so it sounds like quanam mamnof avif mon loinal. Quanam mamnof avif mon loinal. 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 For some reason, my mouth doesn't want to say it. Loinal. All right. Good. Well done. All right. What's next? And they were wise. Do we have wisdom yet? Do we have anything wise? We do. Nakwata. Norat. Okay, and let's just call this wise from the root nakwata. And we had a great, I should put down the etymology for this one. Apologies. Tano peninale. 1. Or rather, wait, did I get that right? Tano 1. One 10 down. I don't think that's right, is it? How did I do this before? Talonale. That was the talonale. Tano nale 1 down 10. That's the etymology. 1 down 10. Right? Talonale. Tanonale. Nala. No, how does that work? How do we get from galactic sand? I'm confused. Just tanonale. You know what? Let's just say possibly related to Tano. One down 10. There we go. Unclear etymology. Okay, what's next? No, galactic sand. There are no mistakes. You and I both know there's no such thing as an accident. There's only inspiration and glory. Okay. Yeah. So Chorizo, I do not coin words in sections generally. I find that I end up running very low on inspiration very quickly when I start to go, okay, let's do the numerals from 1 to 10. Oh, I don't want to do it. But when things come out as they're needed, then I like the feel of it better, and it's a lot more fun. Okay. Lucy. Hello, Lucy. You've decided to join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, I have been holding down the fort here very capably and very competently, and no one has thought that I was at all unable to handle it. So, just a little thing to say. All right, moving on. Moving forward, we need to talk about some wise owls here, and they were wise. Okay, so Noret is wise, and we need to look at our grammar. And our grammar says that we are using we're using the regular stem as much as possible now, unless it's a super common verb or noun. And I think wise is not common enough so that we can use this. So noretuf would be the continuative form. So where on earth am I going? Noretuf. They were wise. I guess the question is, do we really want to keep using this continuative form? Or do we want to just use a conjunction like avif? Avif quando mem avif mon loinal. And then we could say avif noret avif. They were knowing. I don't know exactly how we're going to translate this. What was I thinking? Yeah, I like this better than using the inflected continuative form. Yeah, sparsh. Yes. Okay. let's go and get something from Eustamia. So to be knowing, maybe this is something like, do we have to know? Yeah, we do. We have osase. So we are going to get it into Lenethailef as, or into Eustamia as uzas. And that is a good, so to know. And then we'll give the root. So the root is uzas. And this is from Eustamia, uzas, to know. Wait. Uzas. Right? Yeah. And then what we need to do here, this is going to end up being an adjective meaning knowing or something else. Yeah, like Sparsh says, could be a distinction between noret, meaning wise, maybe wise in an everyday sense, and then uzas, meaning wise in some sort of a wise with the lore of the owl or something like that. Yeah, so let's use this. Aviv noret, Aviv. But we don't want to say that they knew. We want to say that they were knowing. So maybe that's a distinction without a difference. Aviv noret, Aviv uzas. Yeah, I think so. That's fine. That's good as it is. Yeah, chorizo ch is Dylan's answered. It's a velar fricative, either voiced or voiceless, depending on its context. So this is wise in the sense of more probably of like practical matters. And this is, we could call it wise as well. Knowing in the sense of cultural tradition, things to do with that. So noret and uzas. So the Book of the Nine Owls begins then as follows. Aviv quanam mem aviv mon loinel. Aviv noret aviv uzas. Great. Aviv, and now we need to say they saw the world. Luckily, we have this same word, the same root, which means to see or to know in protocol. Let's say that it comes into Lenethailef, meaning to see. Ozas. And unfortunately, this is going to be a super common verb, so we're going to have to make it use the ablaut system. All right, so let's get no, sorry, too many tabs. I think some of you could probably relate. All right, so then let's put osase. Let's put it through. So what do we get out of it? Ozas, azaz, azazuf, azas. Interesting. So our second form is going to be ozas, azas, and azaze. to see. And this is actually a doublet of uzas. So protocol osasa. Cool. Doublet. I am constitutionally incapable of curbing my enthusiasm. I wish we could put the curb your enthusiasm theme over some of these. That would be fun. Okay. Good. Okay, good. So let's put this in. And they saw the world. So here we have, well, I guess we can now put these into the past, can't we? So this is like the clausal and. Let's just put this into the past tense. Ugh, I'm so lazy. I haven't done any of these. Wise and we'll just gloss it as knowing. And see past world accusative. And I think that's all we're gonna have time for today. Goodness gracious. Okay. So what's the past form of this verb osus? Well, it's a schwa stem. So it's going to be, I think, osus. Is that right? Azas. Okay, so this is probably more than just a little irregular. This is quite irregular. Azas. Avif azas. And then we need a word for world. And because, oh, we're running out of time. Yeah, okay. Let's make up a word for world and then call it a day with that. Although I wanted to put this mem into the past tense. Memana. Let's find a way to do it. Worksheet. So it's going to be et, or ut rather. And it's going to be in the third stem. So mamenet. There we go. And then noret is going to become nogetet, I think. And uzas is going to become uzatet. Uzazet. I don't know if I like that. Maybe we could say that predicative adjectives, like stative verbs, don't take past. Because I don't like putting all these. I don't know. We'll come back to that later. Avif azas, and then the world. So let's come up with a word for the world. And I kind of want to take the, which I believe is the etymology of the word for world in Irish, dawan, which would be something that coming from a root meaning the deep. And so from the perspective of owls, I guess the world would be a very deep place, wouldn't it? So let's put something like this into go to the proto-grammar. Struggling. Good. And can I get, chat, a word for deep? Okay. Quain, I like this. Let's derive it from the word meaning down. Oops. Where's down? It's nala. So something that starts with nala. We don't necessarily need to have a separate morpheme here, but maybe something. Let's use our stem extender. Maybe something like nala ma, meaning deep. And so nala ma chakwa could be the world. because hukwa, for those of you who don't know, is the nominalizer. Hukwa, something like that. So this gives us nalmoch. I like that. The world, and then we have to figure out, sorry, I'm going very quickly here, too quickly probably. We have to figure out how to put that into the accusative, but it is now 4 o'clock and I am going to have to leave this very, very joyous occasion. So let me just say goodbye to YouTube quickly. YouTube. I barely noticed the time going by. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Come back and we'll keep going. We'll forge ahead. I don't even think we got any life wisdom from that. I was expecting to get to learn some things from the blessed ones of the owl, but I guess it wasn't in the cards today. So come back next time and you'll see, you'll improve your life. You'll become a better person. All right. Until then, see you next time. And chat, thanks to you. This has been another extremely fun stream. I managed to hold in most of the giggling. I think all of the giggling, actually. I don't think I giggled once. Maybe chat, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I just thought about this, War of the False Owl, and for some reason I couldn't help myself. I just thought this is such a weird name for a historical period. Yeah. Okay. I am going to calm down. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to ponder what next to do in these languages. But we will take a break on Thursday from Conlang, and we will return to our adventures with a different kind of owl. So that's all I'll say about that for today. So thanks again to all of you for joining me today. And next time we will see you again, and we will have some more fun. So until then, see you on Thursday, or see you in the Discord, or see you wherever fine linguistic things are talked about on the internet. Until then.